welcome to the Prophecy Club. We are living in some very interesting times today. Today we're going to be talking about Omer ushers in Palestinian state, the 49 days, counting of the Omer, and also Suitcase Nukes, and also the big, great wealth transfer that Proverbs 13:22 talks about. Okay, first of all, Omer ushers in Palestinian state. This may be. I want to believe it's not going to happen this year. I want to believe, matter of fact, I was just praying again, and I ask you guys to pray out there too, that the Suitcase Nukes, that the Omer ushers in Palestinian state would not take place this year. As a matter of fact, I've been praying several times a day against these Suitcase Nukes. We do not want them going off, brothers and sisters. And I believe that the prayers of righteous man availeth much. And I believe that when two or more agrees touching any one thing, it would be given them. And one can put 1,000 flight, two can put 10,000 flight. And when we have several thousand Christians praying that these Suitcase Nukes will not hit, but they will be discovered, dismantled, and disposed of properly, and the people, and that's what I've been praying, and the people that are behind it will receive proper justice. January 22 of 2006. Leslie heard the voice of the Lord speak to her audibly in the night, and that's part of the problem because we didn't see these things spelled. So the first thing is she heard what we believe are the 7 signs leading to the fall of America, and it fits in with what Dimitri Duduman was told. This is probably the most important information that I have to give you outside of Dimitri Duduman and, of course, obviously the gospel. It was January the 14th of 2008. I had spoken in Amarillo that night. Before I went to bed, I prayed, and long story short, the Lord spoke to me that night. And part of what he said was, when those prophecies that I gave to your wife begin to come to pass, people from all directions will begin to turn and listen to your ministry. So these are real important. These were the prophecies given to my wife, Leslie. And this is the order I think that they will be fulfilled, not the order they were given. Omer ushers in Palestinian state. Now that's the problem. We don't know what Omer is because she didn't see it written. Is that Omer, as in the counting of the Omer, which we're about to talk about? Or is that Ehud Omer, which used to be the prime minister that is currently working very hard trying to give the Palestinians a state? And he openly says he wants to give the Palestinians a state and split Israel. So that is a realistic possibility, but the 49 days of the counting of the Omer, which is part we're going to discuss here in just a second, is also part of it. But right now, brothers and sisters, those 3 things are the most important things to watch. Forget the coronavirus, okay? That's not the problem. Believe me, the coronavirus is not going to kill America. But the things I'm talking about may very well destroy America. Okay, so let's get onto it. So in the order that I think they will happen, Omer ushers in Palestinian state. Catastrophe hits America. One of America's greatest times of need. Israel refuses help to America. Israel is attacked. America sends troops. Chaos reigns as Americans protest help to Israel. Then she heard my voice quoting Dimitri Duduman, the fall of America would start with an internal revolution. Now, let's go back. If it's Ehud Omer, we will see it in the newspaper someplace that he has worked around a deal, and that's what him and his leftist crew, you might say, really want. They want to give the Palestinians a state and split Israel, and they're very, very open about it. But the problem is the only other option is the deal of the century by Jared Kushner and President Donald J. Trump. Now, I love President Donald J. Trump. I love this guy. I think he's the best president we've ever had, at least in my lifetime. Even the best of the people can make an honest mistake. And if he splits Israel, it will be an honest mistake, and it will be a mistake that will destroy America. That's kind of hard to even think about, isn't it? Think that our wonderful president, Donald J. Trump, could destroy America. But in our quest to do good, we've all done it. Our quest to do good, we were trying to do good, and all of a sudden we find ourselves in a world of crocodiles. We've made a big mistake. Well, that could be exactly what's about to happen to President Trump and our nation. So let's talk about that. It says Omer ushers in Palestinian state. Well, what's the other Omer? The Omer could be the 49 days of the counting of the Omer, of which today, as I make this 11:22 a.m. on Monday, 4/13 of 2020, this is the first day of the counting of the Omer. So let's back up and talk about that. The point of the feasts are to show Jesus to the Jews. The second point of the feasts is they are a pattern. Let me say it again. They are a pattern of the way God will do things. No, not the way God can or might. These are a pattern of the way God will do things. Things will, let me say it again, things will be fulfilled on these dates. If you want to understand Bible prophecy, if you want to understand the end times, you must spend some serious time in Leviticus 23 and several other places, but for sure Leviticus 23, studying those feasts. Make some graphs, make some charts, write it out, study those feasts. I had to. Okay, so anyway, what are the feasts? First of all, a brief overview. The first one is Passover, and the first Passover was Moses and the death angel passing over. We talked about that recently, so I won't go into a whole lot of detail. So the firstborn died the night of Passover. That's when Moses and the children of Israel gathered the gold, silver, and raiment in great abundance, and that's when Pharaoh kicked him out. And then for the next thing is the unleavened bread. They did not have time to put leaven in their bread, so they just had to put their kneading troughs, whatever those were, for their bread on their shoulders, and for the next 3 days they walked. And that's the 3 days of darkness. That's the 3 days that Jesus, see, because Jesus was crucified the afternoon of Passover, and so then the next 3 days are the 3 days of darkness that they refer to, and that's the 3 days that Jesus spent in the heart of the earth. It's 3 full days. So he had to be in the earth before sundown, so that means shortly after sundown, on Saturday night, he came out of the grave. Now, they didn't discover he had resurrected until the next morning, Sunday morning, which, by the way, it's not Easter. That's pagan. It is the Resurrection Sunday, that's fine to say, but the correct name is, it's First Fruits, or Resurrection Sunday, not Easter. If you say Easter, go wash your mouth out with soap. It's pagan, and probably I should do a talk on that too. Anyway, let's go on. First Fruits, which was Saturday night, sundown for us Gentiles. Then the next day, so that would be Sunday night for us at sundown, began the counting of the Omer. For the next 49 days, it is the counting of the Omer. Meaning, now listen carefully, this is real important. If Donald Trump's deal of the century, his splitting of Israel, and that's what it'll do, if it is consummated in the next 49 days, if it is agreed to, and that's high probability, if it's agreed to, then you can almost certainly be assured that there will be a headline in some newspaper someplace that says Omer ushers in Palestinian state. If that happens, shortly after that, you will see America split open from the Great Lakes all the way down to, it could be as bad as the Gulf of Mexico. But maybe it won't be so bad. I don't know, but there's going to be a big split. February 2014, we had Prophet Ephraim Rodriguez come in. He had had a vision about a large meteor hitting Mona Island, and it caused a tsunami up the east coast of the United States. So I did some research. I found that there's 6 people saw a large meteor hit near Puerto Rico. 4 people saw a tsunami hit the east coast of the United States. 6 people saw America split into 2 pieces. 3 people saw large chunks of California fall into the ocean. And now it's up to 12 people saw that America was split because she split Israel. So brothers and sisters, in your prayers, be sure and pray that Donald Trump will not split Israel. Now, if Ehud Omer splits Israel, and that's a Jew, if they split their own country, then that's on their head. But if someone from America, meaning Donald J. Trump, since he's the one trying to do it, if he splits America, stick a fork in America. It's over. It's done. We are sliding down to destruction pretty fast. So more than the Russians, more than the Russians attacking right now, the thing we got to pray against, I'm telling you, I hope you're listening, we got to pray against this counting of the Omer. We got to pray against, mainly, we do not want Donald Trump to split Israel. Now, if Israel splits Israel, not our problem. We can't help that. But we, any American, we do not want to be part of splitting Israel. Okay, now let's talk about the suitcase nukes here for just a second. Do you have any comment, David?
The implications of this are astounding. When you take a look at the possibility of a Palestinian state, that is absolutely a biblical event. you were basically told that when these prophecies start coming to pass, the ministry, people would start listening to it. Well, what is the ministry all about? It's all about prophecy. What you're saying is we could be 49 days to a major catastrophe in America. I mean, that's just, these are big implications.
Yes, yes, well said, well said. And I'm going to have to pick my words carefully, and so I'm going to give you a big, giant disclaimer before we get started in this. The things, and then I'm just catching words and phrases here. So if you don't understand this, then fine. Okay, you don't understand it. But some of the people out there will understand what I'm talking about. So here's the disclaimer. None of this comes from me. None of this comes from any of my friends. This was floated down through who knows how many people. It is very, very, very hearsay. The problem is it does line up with prophecies, my understanding of what's happening. Let me refresh your memory that when I'm talking about this wealth of the wicked turned over to the just, this Proverbs 13:22, that's exactly what it is. It's a prophecy in the Bible. We also have Neville Johnson that has said there's a wealth transfer coming. Shane Warren has said a wealth transfer is coming. So when I'm talking about that, that's what I'm talking about. Primarily Proverbs 13:22. It discusses lots of arrests going down. Trump making a disaster declaration for all 50 states. They're suspecting he may do that. This wealth transfer has to do with the two, and this is what I'm talking about when we talk about a wealth transfer. The $2 trillion stimulus bill checks and direct deposits are going out next week, meaning this week. That's what they're saying, which that's what the news is telling us. Okay, so that's nothing inside, but let's go on. Skipping. Have already removed the most dangerous of the deep state operatives who are slowing down the release process. Skipping a paragraph, he confirmed that Trump wants the economy and the nation opened up and restarted from the pandemic quarantine by Friday, May 1st, 2020. Well, that would be wonderful, but I'd like to see him do it tomorrow, which is Tuesday, when he says he has the biggest decision of his life, he said. And frankly, I think that he's going to start saying, we're going to start opening up some areas. I don't think he can open up the whole nation, but some areas are about to be opened up. That's just my guess. All right, go on. Skipping another paragraph. To get out the stimulus bill, $1,200 checks and direct deposits to start. Skipping two paragraphs. Military operations of the last week through this weekend arresting deep state drug and human trafficking cartels, rescuing children victims, stopping deep state comms, phones, internet, parentheses, and removing deep state booby traps and dark nodes on the internet. Skipping a line. This military op is continuing, he said. Through tomorrow, 4/12, many deep state rats being rounded up behind the scenes right now. Right now is in capital letters. He confirmed that thousands of children and women, victims of traffickers from 3 years old to 17-year-olds, have been rescued in the military ops of the past 2 weeks. Parenthesis. He confirmed the intel from investigative journalist, and I'm going to say the name here because I have got this from at least 4 or 5 different sources. Everybody and their brother is sending me over to this. So if you've got a pencil, you want to write this down, I'm not going to recommend you go see it. I will tell you where it is. I'm not going to it is scary. It is scary. It's scary. I started to say gory and scary, and it kind of scory. Maybe that's a correct word. Maybe I just invented a word. But so anyway, I'll give it to you. Don't be surprised if you have to try several times because there's a lot of people going to this website right now. So the name is Timothy Holmseth. Holmseth, who works with the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force. Timothy Holmseth, 35,000 kids rescued from captivity, unquote. Also, Twitter at Lisa May 62, and that's LISAMEI 62, playpens. I don't know if there's a space between playpens there or not, but there is in what I'm reading. And he also said Twitter at QStorm1111, those 4 of those ones, Why are they bringing a box of peppers into the tent hospitals in Central Park? So there you go. You just got some. If you want to know what's going on, you just got some real good scoop there. I've looked at it, and I'm telling you, it's scary. It has to do with all these arrests that we've been talking about now for 2 years has been coming up. Here it is. The banks are ready to send out, and I'm not going to say the number, but lots and lots and lots of notification emails between 413 and 415, and that again has to do with all of this $2.2 trillion money handout, which I believe is part of the great wealth transfer of Proverbs 13:22, the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just. That's what it is. It's a handout. He also confirmed that Pelosi and deep state Democrats were trying to change some of the procedures. Well, I'm not surprised. He also confirmed have already removed the most dangerous of the deep state operatives who were slowing down the release process. He confirmed that there may be some high-level arrests to be made public. He confirmed that teams are well aware of what deep state obstructionists could do to obstruct things further, and they're putting measures in place to prevent further deep state obstruction tactics. Okay, so we know that we're in the 49 days of counting of Omer. We know that America could split Israel in the next 49 days with the deal of the century. There are mass arrests, not just in process, but they're about to conclude, is what this was saying. Benjamin Fulford, this was a week ago. Part of what he said there was the Khazarian Mafia is not giving up without a fight. The WDS White Dragon Society received the following message from them last week. Quote, this is real important. Listen. We have been ruling this planet for thousands of years, and we will destroy it rather than give it up. Does that sound like Suitcase Nukes to you? Because it does to me. I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, I at least 2-3 times a day, maybe 3, 4, 5 times a day. Every time it comes to mind, I keep saying, Lord, here's my prayer. Please pray the prayer. Pray in agreement with me. We do not want this to happen. Lord, we ask that you stop these suitcase nukes. Do not let them go off in our nation. Instead, cause a traitor from within to rise up and report them to the right good guy and cause them to all be found, dismantled, disassembled, destroyed, whatever it is, all correctly, and justice be brought to those people that are behind them. Look, this is real important stuff here. I just want to cover a couple other things confirming that all of these arrests are in the process. I heard now 3 large helicopters fly over my house over the last 3 or 4 days. And where I live, we don't dare. I mean, I think 15 years I've seen a couple of helicopters fly over, and they're just little bitty small civilian ones. A couple of them, I didn't actually see them. It was at night. But boy, you could hear them. I mean, it shook the whole house. To me, that says military. Also, my sister-in-law said that one large one carrying troops, a military helicopter, flew over her house. Also, my graphic artist that does our books lives outside of Washington, D.C. She lives near a closed military base, but she says she drove by, happened to be by there, and she noticed that not only is it up and running, but it now has gates. It also has crash barriers on it, big bright spotlights. And she says that closed military base is no longer closed. She's also been seeing an abnormal amount of black helicopters in the area and lots of black vehicles out on the streets. And they only live about a mile from the base. So I'm telling you that they're rounding up these guys. Now, let's go back to what Benjamin Fulford said. If they're rounding them up, and they say we have ruled this planet for thousands of years, we will destroy it rather than give it up. What does that tell you? That tells me that here any day we could see a bunch of suitcase nukes go off. Also, Donald Trump last week said that they had intel. Iran had released some information that they had intercepted the information that Iran had given orders to attack America. And of course, they're thinking like an eagle attacks an eagle, they attack face to face. But you have to understand that the Muslims, they are not the eagle. They are the leopard. Leopards don't fight face to face. They run to fight another day. That's their creed. So they They aren't going to attack America face to face. Iran is not going to do that. But what they will do, especially with the approval of the Khazarian mafia that's being rounded up and arrested, what they very well could do is set off these suitcase nukes and blame it on Iran. So they've already got the patsy right now. I mean, even Donald Trump himself said that they had interest. And now listen to this. Tehran has been quoted as saying that if there's an attack on Tehran, there will be nuclear detonations on American soil. I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, we better be praying. Here's another thing. You better be anointing every door, every window, every garage door of your home in the name of Jesus, asking for him to put angels round about you so that if these suitcase nukes do go off, and we are praying that they don't. We've been praying and fasting that they don't, and I ask you to join in that. I want to get to heaven, and that never happens. See, look, a lot of times God gives us prophecies like this because he doesn't want them to come. He's looking for people to stand in the gap. If no one stands in the gap, then what he thought to do will come to pass. But I believe we can stop this. But we got to pray. We got to fast, which is another reason why you ought to join Fast Track. This is an extreme emergency. Hamas and Iran know U.S. is weak. Oh, baloney. Has nothing to do with that. But see, again, we prophecy students. We understand which direction the wind is really blowing. Okay, let me go on here. Special Operations Command are now sending in cyber recon teams to establish HVT targets. That's lingo for military. I don't know what an HVT is, but I'm sure somebody's going to send me emails and let me know now. Skipping here. Alert, alert. This is an emergency deployment now executing operation order for engagement in, here it is, this is important, engagement in 18 hours or less, meaning that at this time they were getting themselves prepared to come in and attack somebody, someplace within 18 hours. So that tells us that these suitcase nukes, brothers and sisters, they could look. Well, let's put it this way: if you were one of these evil people that does child sacrifice and sex trafficking, and you had ruled the world for thousands of years, and now you knew that Donald Trump and his Marine buddies were about to arrest you and put you on trial, and they know this in military tribunals. If you knew this and you had your finger on the button of suitcase nukes to retaliate, what would you do? Now, see, the heart of the average Christian is we still wouldn't do it. But these guys can't wait to do it. They are evil that we don't even understand. I'm only telling you, brothers and sisters, put the blood on the doorpost, as in olive oil for us. Anoint your home, put on the blood of Jesus every day. If you do not have potassium iodate pills, that would be a very good idea. Let me take just a second. I ain't planning to talk about this, but I'll take a second to explain. So let's say the worst happens. Let's say the suitcase nukes go off, and let's say one of them goes off within an hour of where you live, which is actually, if there's 20 to 50 of them going off all across America, that's a pretty high probability. At the time you hear this goes off, then what do? You might want to wait until you actually see the fallout arriving in your area, but pretty soon you will want to start taking potassium iodate pills. Now, why? Because the biggest danger from fallout is the radiation, and it comes like drifting down from the sky, like sometimes it's in the form of sand or powder, very, very small powder. And then it drifts on your car, it drifts on the ground, you track it in, and it just gets every place. It just goes every place. Well, it's radioactive. So the radioactive stuff gets on your skin. It absorbs through your skin. And then the danger, there's other dangers, but the biggest danger is it goes in and your thyroid absorbs it. It kills your thyroid. If your thyroid dies, you die. And there's very little you can do about it. So the easiest, simplest way is you take these potassium iodate pills. That puts in the good iodine into your thyroid. It floods your thyroid with good iodine so it does not absorb the radioactive iodine. And yes, your Prophecy Club has some. And yes, you can get them online at prophecyclub.com. Potassium iodate pills, prophecyclub.com. You just go to Prophecy Club, and then on one of the little tabs at the top, click on that, and you pull down to emergency supplies, and there it is. David, your comment.
You know, the things that I'm really catching here is that we could be 49 days to a major catastrophe, and you've basically stated that catastrophe could be either a major earthquake in the U.S. or it could be Suitcase Nukes, either of which are, tremendous catastrophes. But I'm also hearing on the other end of that, Matthew 24:6, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Psalms 37:25, I have been young, and now am old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. So we hear of a lot of these things that are coming potentially that could be tremendous, but also on the other side, I'm hearing that God knows how to provide for his people, and there is some encouragement in that.
Amen. It seems as someone went on Amazon.com and said some very bad things about the Secret Door to Understand Bible Prophecy book, and of course, people read that when there's only 2 comments, and so consequently, it is almost stopping the sales on Amazon.com. Now, of course, I don't care about the sales as much as I want people to get the book. So, if you have read The Secret Door to Understand Bible Prophecy or Miss the Mark, and if you have the time, please go to Amazon.com and put your comments up there so that people will consider getting those 2 books. That's Amazon.com, Secret Door to Understand Bible Prophecy, and Miss the Mark. Also, when you're watching Prophecy Club on YouTube, if you will click like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell, it will help more people to see this broadcast. I also just learned that Heaven's Harvest has more food in stock. That's right, freeze-dried, the coveted freeze-dried food in stock at heavensharvest.com. And if you put the promo code in STAN, it helps your Prophecy Club, and it also gets you a packet of heirloom seeds free. heavensharvest.com, promo code STAN, S-T-A-N, heavensharvest.com, STAN. What would you do if you had to tell a person the most important information in the world, but you knew they wouldn't believe you? Would you tell them? Well, most would. So what is the most important information in the world to all people, nations, and languages? The most important thing to do is to receive Jesus, but the most important thing not to do is don't take the mark of the beast, because those taking the mark of the beast do not get soul death, but are eternally tormented in hell. Revelation 14:11 says, the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night who worship the beast in his image, or whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. But how do you tell them? Give them the book, Miss the Mark. If they'll read this simple, thin, easy-to-read book, they will never take the mark of the beast. 1 for $20, but don't do that. We offer them in shrink-wrap sets of 10 to give away. 1 set of 10 for $30, 2 sets $45, 4 sets $70 at prophecyclub.com. Miss the Mark at prophecyclub.com. Miss the Mark at prophecyclub.com. After receiving Jesus, the most important warning in the world is don't take the mark of the beast. In my new book, Miss the Mark, Don't Take the Mark of the Beast, it is written so simply that even the least informed person, even people from other faiths, will never take the mark once they read this book. God showed me the difference between the mark and the number of his name. Understanding Christians are the Antichrist's primary targets. It exposes 9 deceptions, so perfect and powerful, if it were possible, it would deceive even the very elect. The 9 deceptions are archaeology, Skylink, QFS, rapture, creation, miracles, alien revelation, superhumans. One is $20, but don't do that. We offer them in shrink-wrap sets of 10. 1 set of 10, $30. 2, $45. 4, $70 at prophecyclub.com. Miss the Mark at prophecyclub.com. You can have instant access to over 200 titles on a recurring monthly subscription of $20 or yearly for $200 at watchprophecyclub.com.